following is a presentation of MRE Uno, Division 1. When you think of the word toxic, you think of many things. Environment, waste, maybe a friend you don't like. But today's a little bit different. Because when you think of toxic, there's only one region that comes to mind. The zombie region. Sometimes zombies can be toxic, with aura and passion alike. But today it's a different story. For Abyan, he's been here before. Sure, he got the round 1 win, but he needs more. A win here today against Nam, and he starts to enter that top 15 conversation in Super League. For Nam, nothing to lose. In what was one of the most improbable wins against Chomik in Game 5 after a power play, he found a way, through a reshuffle and all, to get to this point. It's Super League season. This is one of the best rounds in league history. With all the pressure on the line, only one thing demands. Is it chaos or composure? +2 control runs to the finish. Pick your side. Pick your poison. Hello everybody and welcome to an absolutely stacked round called the Toxic 32. This is the first of 4 insane matchups today. Big day on head. A lot of playoff implications. A lot of Super League chances will be taken by the storm and taken into a new era as we continue to run this crazy field in the 2025 season. There's Nam, there's Abyan, tail of the tape. We both saw these guys round 1. That's one thing to know. We both saw these guys in round 1. We do have a lot of Bi-Island guys coming. We'll see a little bit of those guys later. But this is a match we saw. It's the Battle of the Fours, the regular blue 4 for Nam, and the old +4 for Abyan. Vetmaster, obviously, T5 game record says 4-2, 4-1. Abyan winning against Zach in 6, 5 for 5 for Nam against Chomik. 4-2 for Nam, a little bit better on the career head-to-head over Abyan. 4-2 for Stream 3. 3-time medalist, 2 bronze, 1 silver for Nam, of course, adding a little bit to his total. 76-14. Abyan going to lose this one 3-4 according to CPU. Stream game doesn't get much better than that. We go into the preview of that pod. Well, this is a massive one because 3 out of the 4 people are fighting for Super League. Abyan, Nam, of course, and Sean Ard and Toaster Guy. But Toaster Guy, with some losses that have happened potentially and the way the field is, it's going to take a lot to get him out of Super League. He's not officially locked, but he's pretty much the last guy you think, all right, no matter what happens, he should be good to go. So for Ard, Abyan, Nam, it's playoff implications. We'll see Toaster Ard 8:15 Sunday as this penultimate game of the round. But it starts up with the opener of Abyan Nam right here on MRE Uno. Abyan Nam going to kick us off in the zombie regions. There's the schedule. Nuclear region, non-stream game. We do have 4 of those. We do have a 12-pack of streams, 4 non-streams. There's one of them in the nuclear region. Caesar Curtis. That's going to be interesting. Caesar can't avoid the upset. Curtis has nothing to lose. Should be a fun one there. Then the 2 big ones tonight. Another 4-5. Myth Aria. For Myth, sure, he looks pretty decent right now with that win in the first round. But if he can get an insurance win, he's good. For Aria, season on the line, needs to get the win or it's over for her. Nick Andy, same thing for Andy. Even though he's on the bubble, now he had to get some losses behind. He needs to get this win over Nick. A Nick win for sure could put him in that really, really comfortable position and get a rematch win too after losing in March. Whereas Nick, nothing to lose. His only goal is to get the regular season championship, which we will see come the end of August, and we'll know the reveal there. What a day it's going to be. What a scene it's going to be. Joining me in the booth will be Seth and Yoshi here. Maybe I'll try to get him involved too. I didn't see him join, my fault there. Abyan will be here, so I'm going to let him know in a second. But Seth, this is playoff implications, buddy. This is Super League. There's not much to say. We have some of the best games right here. We saw Nam and Abyan both in the first one. You saw the Nam game vividly. What's the rundown on Nam after getting a little experience? I know Abyan loves +2 control, but what's the rundown on Nam when you saw it against Chomik, commentating that one live?
Yeah, I mean, from what I remember from that Nam game, I think that one of the biggest things, and I think you touched on the word, was composure. He seemed to really, for the most part, have control. Even if there were games that he didn't come out on the winning side of, you got a sense at certain points of those games that he was able to establish a sense of control. And honestly, I feel like coming into this matchup that there is equal pressure on both sides. But I think for Nam, you're in a sense almost playing with house money. You can continue the composure, but you can maybe step outside of the comfort zone a little bit and be a little bit more aggressive here against Abyan, because think about what's at stake. If you end up having a loss in this series, you're eliminated from Super League, but you've got a 38% chance of getting to Super League if you win this. It's an incredible increase in percentage there. So I think for Nam, you're going to be willing to maybe show a couple of different reads to Abyan that he might not be expecting. On the flip side, you talked about it there. Abyan, I think that what he's got to do is he's got to just stick with his original game plan, because he's one of the few people here where if he ends up having a loss, there's still a percentage of a chance that he could, maybe it's slim, but there's still a percentage of a chance he could make it into Super League. We talk about that end zone there, KT, when we start getting down to around that 5 to 7 card range. Normally you wouldn't think somebody's got to finish, but we've seen 5, 6, 7 baggers to close things out. Nama's very good at doing that at the end of these games. That's something that Abyan's going to have to be aware of.
Yeah, Abyan, if he does lose, say, roughly 14%. Of course, these are unofficial numbers. The CPU, when we do this, cannot factor in what happens behind. The thing that's holding Abyan back, and it's the clear number one thing, is the fact that he has that DQ loss to myself. Otherwise, he doesn't have that, just has a regular loss. He wouldn't even be in this conversation. He might already be in the top 15. So just shows you how, of course, of the season, one little mistake could, on or off the table, could cost you. I'll go to Yoshi real quick. Yoshi, your thoughts on this game real quick. I didn't know you were coming in, but if you wanted to, I know you got the ref to 10:30 game. You want to give some initial thoughts before I get Abyan? No, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, I think this game is going to be, intriguing. I think both come from the same background in terms of where they were before joining the league. So they definitely know each other in that sense. I don't know if they've actually played before, though. In MRE, I don't think so. No. I don't think so. So yeah, there's a lot to this game where I think what Nam has to do to get the win on Chomik, I feel like it's going to be kind of similar here. Because I feel like Chomik is a really good player despite his record, and Abyan, I mean, he's done pretty well as well in this season, so there's lots to play for. I think both these players are capable of making Super League. It's just only, I feel like the loser of this is going to have a tough time, because I'm not sure if, I would say the loser of this is in trouble at best, and the winner is looking pretty good. So, yeah, a lot on the line here, and I think in this playoff position, there's a lot that's going to be thought about in these matches. So I don't really know what to expect. I just think it's going to be a good one.
I'll just type out the question for now and there, then we'll VM after the games go on. We'll go to Abyan. Abyan, obviously, we all know the scenario, man. The CPU said it best. You win this game, you got a 60% chance to get into Super League. Of course, it's unofficial, but if you get this game win, you're looking really good. A loss here, and it's down to 14. Pressure's on the line. What did you learn against Zach? Remember, he pulled a sneak attack. He pulled some things that maybe you had not seen in the past. What can you learn from that Zach game to try to incorporate into Nam, and how do you handle and compartmentalize the pressure here today as your season's on the line, just like Nam?
Well, I'll just trying to play the way that it is as usual. I always just want to play just play it cleanly. I don't really want to put myself in a stress position. So any game that just goes into my advantage really what I want. But I think the fans, all the people here want to see some chaotic games. So we'll just see if this series is going to be chaotic or it's going to be as calm as like the first 3 games at my previous match. So yeah, good luck to them.
While we wait for Nam, Seth, you can already see the pressure's building, man. Yeah, it's his face. But you can see the pressure's already building because you look at... Hold on one second. Well, and the pressure system is good game adaptation. Whoever can establish that control for it will come out on top. I've got a few strategies in mind, try to prevent the +2 assault. We'll just have to go game by game. Shout out to the family. I really wanted to get this game for his family. That's why we did this 9:30. So shout out to Nam's family. Shout out to Lamas too. He'll be doing the scoreboard operations today. We'll be getting the game 1 going real shortly. But Seth, you look at both of these answers. Abyan, he wants calm, but I don't think he's going to get that today. Not when you have a +2 assault strategy, and Nam's a guy that loves big finishing draft runs, 7-8 cards back. How do you try to compartmentalize that if you're Nam, in a sense that, hey, he just said he likes, obviously he may be watching this too, and his family is. How does he try to compartmentalize knowing that, hey, you know what? Abyan wants a calm game. Do you think he starts playing some strategy on the card store? We saw with Chomik when he went 14. Do you think he starts using those brownie points, those little nuggets that we're putting here, that he might use in his arsenal to get a psychological advantage? Because that's something to keep in mind, too. The psychological aspect of a playoff situation is second to none in this league.
Yeah, I think so, for sure. I think that he can add it to potentially the chaos, if you will. But I think another thing as well is, you consider that this bot has also been an author of chaos. You can have a plan going into a game, and then you have to completely reverse it, depending on what kind of cards you end up having on the initial draw, and then how lucky you can maybe get on some top decking. So I think that, I think you have to expect the chaos. You may be planning for a smooth sailing game, but I think you have to have in your hip pocket chaos control as well when and if it breaks out, whether it be the bot or whether it be the person on the other side. And I think maybe a little bit of advantage there for Nam if he's one of those that embraces the chaos, because you're already set for whatever the bot might throw at you if it ends up being something, like you said, with a lot of those +2s, maybe an untimely +4, you may have an answer back for that immediately.
Embrace the chaos, and I think you said it best, Seth, when you played on Monday. No 2 games are ever the same in this spot. It's just unreal. The fact that you can go from one mat to the next and you've got to figure it out. It's definitely a challenge, and that's what we wanted to create. The old bot, you just knew. All it took was 2 +4s or just 1 +4, and your game was pretty much set. You're going to probably win that game. This bot, not so fast. You better figure out 20 different metas. Well, we're going into the fire. It's the zombie region. It's about to get toxic real fast, real quickly. Let's begin. Luke's our ref. Lamas our scoreboard operator. 2-2-1-1-1. And for those most famous words, I'm going to get down to Abyan. Abyan, game 1, my friend. Welcome to the second round. Welcome to the playoff pressure. What do we got for game 1, my man?
It might sound ironic, but I want to start at full send.
Nothing less, man. That's nothing less.
Hey.
Full send. This is what Abyan does. He's a guy to go full send, always off the start, or a 5. He'll go full send right here. Let's get this 9:30 in the morning, 9 o'clock over there in Indonesia at night. Started right. Wherever you're watching around the world, welcome to the Toxic 32. And we're started off with the guy that will be coming up on Thursday, O'Brien 9. We begin. And Seth, this is going to be the opening stanza right here. Upper tier, How's the switching going to go? Who's going to be the first to blink as we start with the Gen 0? Those are the things to watch for sure.
I love it too because, we've been talking about the word chaos. Let's see how chaotic we get. And it's a lot easier in the first opening game to get a read on your opponent because you've got so much more time, so many more cards to play here during the course of a 15-card start than you would maybe in just a classic 7-card start, which we see a lot of individuals do in the first game. So I like this. You're in a sense going to school in this first game and you got plenty of time for observation.
Going with the red and 3. I like the fact that so far here as we continue to go into this green too, Seth. We talked about the chaos. They're willing to go calm. I think this is going to be a feeler game as Nam draws. You don't see much aggression here from Nam, and he's known to draw and get runs as we go to the Chomik-based card. I think he's willing to sit back and just wait. It's game 1. There's a long time. Best of 7 is... You think it's a short amount, but in this, with the playoffs, it's going to feel longer. So I don't mind him just drawing back and seeing where it goes, as Abyan will make the switch and break first.
Yeah, interesting there. I mean, I think we can assume that Nam is iced out in green, but to your point, if he's got that ammunition, he doesn't want to use it here in the early going. I mean, he could even have a green +2, and he doesn't want to play it right now. That ammo, just keeping it in reserve, drawing back. You get that luxury there as well, right? Because if we had started this down in the mid-tier area, more than likely we maybe don't see Nam draw back. With it being a higher card start, you don't feel quite as threatened when you end up having to do a draw back. What was that? I think 3 turns in there for Nam at this point in time.
Yeah, Nam drew back twice, and he's got something going because he's going with the aggressive switching. So that's either 2 options. 1, he found a +4 or some really good connector he's waiting to save, or 2, let's push the pace a little bit. Let's see what he's got. How many action cards does he really have as he continues to just study the game here, run it clean.
And to your point, with drawing back as he did, you've got a better chance of number efficiency with the aggressive light switches than Abyan would have, having whittled the cards down there when he was running in green. So over into yellow, over into red here. We've obviously, at this point in time, there's not exactly a Pandora's box as we've been in all 4 colors as right now, maybe less in yellow than we have in any of the others right now. Only 2 cards have been played there, so I guess we'll call that proverbial Pandora's boxes. Look at this. Okay, this is an interesting one. This is a check back by Abyan. Stacked +2 back into the blue. However, remember, we ended up having a couple of drawbacks there by Nam, and now he's going to have 16 cards to work with, down to 3. This could come back to bite because we always talk about the return.
Well, this is Abyan Uno. +2 control. There it is. I think Nam strikes back right here and says not so fast with at least a minimal end around. If not, maybe one of them +4s. Here he comes. And that's the thing, Seth. You're taking a big chance. If that's not a finish the next turn, Nam is going to strike back. He's loading up. There's going to be at least a minimal end around here. And there's that +4. That stops the train. Saw that coming a mile away.
I was going to say, if you're Nam, I'm wrapping it around some way back to red because we saw the light switch with the +2 off of red into blue. I love this call going back to red here. Even if you end up giving Abyan a red to work with on that +4. Oh, but wow! The number efficiency to get it back to blue. I did not see that one coming.
Well, it makes sense, though. We hadn't seen a 2, so he left it open there in a second, but Abyan's juiced. All right. So there you go. A little catch your breath. Nam, great wraparound back with the Curtis 5. That's going to be definitely Command Central barring a top deck here for Nam. Now he can start the round. That might be a top deck, though, Seth. I think Nam's still in a good spot right here.
Makes me wonder, obviously we saw the double +2s into blue. One would have to assume that blue 2 that Abyan used was his only one. One would have to wonder what the other 2 cards would have been there. Would he have had a finish or not, or would he have just been able to get it down deplete of blue and not have a path with the final 2 cards? Maybe we might have seen a power play attempt there in the first game, depending on what he had. Obviously now, with drawing back, that's a moot point.
Abyan only up 2 possessions now. I'm looking to cut this to 1. I don't see anything other than just sticking to the path. But you go to the Llamas Wild. Risky.
Interesting.
That's risky. First wild of the game. Let's see what that's going to yield because now Abyan should be free as a puppy. Let's see. He does go free.
And remember, we only had 2 previous cards played, 1 on each side, in yellow. We've not been in yellow for a while. This could very well, KT, have been the color that Abyan was looking to finish out in, since he was depleted in blue and would have had 2 cards left. So those cards that he might have still had might be getting played right now as we continue to run in the yellow.
Nick Knob's looking for just to weed off some of these numbers, weed off some of these low colors, and then try to go for a banker finish. Abyan goes to the Vapor 6, trying to hope an undercut the yellow works. He'll take the possession, double G6, but does Nam save that possession for the win right here? Here he comes. Here's the double.
I'd be afraid right now.
Yep. No.
He was willing to use a regular wild to get it over to yellow. I think he had a lot of ammo in reserve. Yeah.
Game. That's classic Nam, boys. I mean, 6-card chain, you got to expect him from 6-7 cards back every time. There's no red zone with 4 or 5 with Nam. It can come from 9 back. This time he gets the job done. We'll go to Abyan in the VC first. Actually, Seth, you can ask him a question. I'm going to type Nam a question. Go ahead.
All right, yeah, Abyan, let's talk about it as you got down there to 3. You hit that stacked +2 there, ended it off in blue. Obviously, we saw the return with the +4 draw you back. What was the game plan there? What were those last couple of cards? I'm assuming the blue 2 was one of your 3 cards. Did you have any type of a plan, any type of a path to those final 2 cards?
Well, yeah, I thought he's playing +4 red, and I try to switch it to blue, but he have a blue, and the number of efficiency just doesn't match up in my condition, and I need to draw, and unfortunately I have nothing at the end, so it's very unfortunate. But yeah, congrats, he is able to make a 16-3 comeback, as it seems like. So yeah, good for him.
When you had those stacked +2s there, was that the only play you had at that point in time? Was that part of the strategy, or in hindsight, would you have been able to maybe hold on to those for a little bit later on in the game?
I have a wild, so my plan was just to pull a wild, and then after that, yellow reverse and yellow 9, and that's game's done. But yeah, probably I should just play that first and then go for the red and blues. I think that's a more sensible option, because at the end, Nam just stack it all and use it at the right moment. So very unfortunate.
That's the aggression aspect there, Seth. It's funny because he was aggressive on those we saw it, right? And then he had you wonder right there, if looking at hindsight, just use the wild. Or use it, maybe flush a plus something, or maybe one of those reverse chains from Nam, and then all of a sudden, it's a neutralized game in the sense that he doesn't have that massive chain. Maybe he only finishes that in 2 turns, because it's a psychological thing. When you see someone win from 6-7 back, now you got to almost be wary of, oh, here we go again, right? And let's see what he said. Had the ammo, just wanted to keep drawing, tested it, got a +4 off one. There it is. Didn't I say that? He was waiting for that +4. And you know what they say, the rich get richer right there. If he had the ammo, the rich getting richer. Absolutely well-timed, well-broken in, and the wild bread decided to punch it far enough away and didn't have the connectors. Yeah, that's the thing. When you see those early draws on game 1, you just don't know. It's a test of luck. It's a test of whatever. And Nam said, let's make the break, punch it. He punched it and got in and decided to make the pass to the end and get the win. And I think for Abyan, he's going to have to rethink this strategy, too, a little bit of the aggression. I like the +2 aggression, but you maybe need to stick with it. And we'll see what he does with the Carster. He's a tender of just, okay, don't work up an upper tier. We'll try to test you low. So let's see if he's got that in.
Yeah, like thinking back to it, when Abyan was down to 6 cards, if I'm reading this correctly, he would have had a yellow reverse, yellow 9, wild, red +2, blue +2, and blue 1. With playing the +2s, if he had played the wild instead, I'm not exactly certain if there would have necessarily been a path to get back to those +2s, though. You would have had to rely on some number efficiencies. So just kind of thinking about that in retrospect, not really a whole lot of options outside of the stack +2 for him there, and then just kind of hope that the return doesn't bite him. But with 16 cards, definitely you knew Nam was going to have some choices. And I'll tell you this, I kind of got a sense here, KT, there is nothing more scary on the other side of the table than seeing somebody play a +4 defensively and then initiating the color swap over to yellow with a wild, you just get the feeling that other +4 is being held there as well. So I wasn't surprised to see that +4 involved in that run to the finish there by Nam.
Yeah, I think the only thing I would have said there for Abyan, say, you throw the wild just for the flush. Because if you throw a yellow wild, he might get panicky and throw a yellow whatever, right? It's definitely a +4 in that case for whatever +4 he had. That was the only thing I'm thinking. Flush it. Maybe not to the finish, but just drag the game back even more. Because when Nam, as he says, he can be really aggressive. But he's not aggressive on defense. He's aggressive on offensive runs, which are very lethal to stop because there's no red zone. The 8 cards, red zone's there. Anyway, I know where Abyan, I think where he's going here. He don't like that upper tier. We'll see what he goes here. Abyan, free board, game 2. Where we headed?
Let's go down once, 14.
He's going to go up. He's going to stick with it. Okay.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah.
And bear in mind here as well, Abyan, with losing that first game, he would have 15 to call upon again should he want it later on in the series.
I'm shocked he didn't go to like a 10 or something, but we'll see. He's going to keep it upper tier. This is what Nam likes. Nam is a guy that like that 15, 14 when he can at the closers. So maybe there's some gamesmanship, but we know Nam loves that 9-card special that he always delivers in the clutch. Early start here, background 8. Shout out to Lamas on the scoreboard as we continue to run. Red 8 now, background character. Where's the switch? Where's the implications going to come with the switch? We saw the first game, not much switching.
Consider this too. Abyan did a great job of getting himself down to 3 cards with really quite a lack of ammunition. I believe that he only had 1 regular wild that he played, and then he had 2+2s. A lot of the ammunition was on the drawbacks there for Nam during that little bit of a draw city. So work with what you got. We talk about that all the time, and with not a whole lot of ammunition to lean back on, did a good job of getting his hand eventually down to 3. We obviously saw the return there with the +2s, but you gotta take what the game gives you, what the bot gives you, and he did a good job of that here. And now I think, to your point there of going up to the 14 cards, I think what his hope is there was a lot of ammo at the start there on one side. Maybe I'm gonna get the ammo this time with start of 14.
Well, right now you got to look at this. The patience is going to be exceeded right here, I think. It's early. It's still upper tier. They still have a feel for that 15, 14 level. The patience is fine. The question is going to become, when we get to that red zone of any time, 7, 8, 9 card, whatever it can be, how does Abyan try to react to that as we go into the Monaco 7? Taking his time already, down to the DJ5. He's already thinking about 3, 4 steps ahead. When we get to that 8, 9 range, 7 even, how do I stop Nam? Because if he's got that crazy draft run, there's nothing you can do other than just try to figure out a stopping point. And he always has to have that in the back of his mind. Here comes Nam. He'll go to the switch and set. There's the opener right there.
Yep. And remember, we talked about with that 15-card start here right out of the gate could be a perfect opportunity as a feeler game. Kind of get to know what Nam's tendencies are going to be. I think that Abyan, to your point now, has gotten a little bit of an idea of what Nam is in terms of the chaos there, in terms of those big runs at the end. And I think you hit the nail right on the head. We're kind of pacing ourselves. We're looking 2, 3 turns ahead for when we get to that end zone area that red zone area we talk about, to have a plan in place if indeed we end up seeing a run get put together. So, I really like that full send call there right out of the gate. Try and see if you can get a pulse on your opponent.
Starting it off with the yellow 3, Nam. This is nothing new, though. He's been known just to draw back and take his time. Abyan, not going to waste time, push the pace. And Andy.
Breaks it open for Nam there, so Nam will be able to run in blue. You got to wonder if Abyan is out of yellow himself, or if he has some in reserve and may use that as a callback eventually here to try and see if indeed Nam was iced out in that color.
In the blue 1 from Nam. Here we go. What will Abyan go here with now? He's in the red zone, basically. 5 cards if he plays here. You got to think the red zone's going to be pushed a little back, too. We don't have 4 cards as usual with these two. They can make big runs. Abyan, especially with those +2 chains. He's up 4 possessions in retro again.
Little double play there, a la Caesar. Oh, but Nam with a trips play, and he'll stack the +2. So now that puts a lot more potential ammunition on the other side of the table here for Abyan. It hurt Abyan in the close of the first game. Let's see if it comes back to bite Nam.
We always talk about when you have one card you really like, Abyan +2s, and your opponent uses that, it's a psychological tactic because he's going to go aggressive in the red. I don't know about that one, so that's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Also, bear in mind, Nam ended up drawing on yellow earlier, and he had some yellow in reserve there. So some different reads there being shown by Nam.
Yeah, I was interested because Nam is a guy that loved to save one or two in the back pocket, and he's saving one or two right here. Does Abyan have the +2s in the red, though, to counter what we just saw? There's one. There we go.
Yes, he does. Little check back there. At least we'll get it to within one card. Nam with 6 and Abyan with 7, but that's a good defensive play there by Abyan to at least keep this close. Not only that, but you potentially now send Nam. I think he would have been on plan B at this point in time. You now send him into plan C, depending on what those 2 cards he got.
I mean, this is how we do it in D1, man. It's especially when we get to these upper echelon players. No game is going to ever be plan A, B, C, unless it's just a rare shellacking we saw with Arden Ghost. It's usually plan E to Z is always open. Here comes Abyan. And it's a pier. Oh, what is this? Is this a power play? This would be really early. Nah, throws a pluser. Wow.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure what to think about this one, Seth. That's a real early one. I think he could have held off a little bit, but could be that psychological game. We'll see.
Could very well be, but I'm almost wondering too, obviously we're down there by that red zone for Nam. He uses the +4 to draw it back, and yeah, now there's the return. I was going to say, I have to wonder if maybe Abyan had another +4, so he felt comfortable using one up right there to take away Nam's offense. But now, Nam with the stack +2 says, alright, you're going to draw me back, I'll draw you right back, and now Nam pretty much in control right now of the possession.
There's a good check back to green, but Nam can run right. He can run right back. That's Nam, man. And the problem is with Nam is he's so good at just hiding one or two camouflage colors. It makes you hard to look at. It makes you harder in a sense that you don't know how to go for it. But there's another +2s are off the wazoo here. How about this? Everything but the yellows and blues now in the +2, one remaining each.
Yeah, this is definitely a lot of ammunition being used up, and I think more on the defensive side than the offensive side for both of them at this point in time. Both realizing that they're near that red zone area and not wanting to allow them any type of a connector, specifically that power play as well. I don't want to say this is a must-win game for Abyan, but you certainly don't want to go into Nam's first homestand down 0-2. With a best of 7, there is a sense of urgency to make sure that you at least... Oh, yeah.
That's a heat check, Seth. Not to cut you off. A blue... What do we see with that yellow wild he pulled in Game 1? What that was a finish to the next couple turns. Abyan's going to have to be on offense here, or defense and offense at the same time, because this is a heat check and a noteworthy moment. Let's see if he learned from the first game and throws something here. There's that one blue +2 remaining. Is there finally a reverse end around wild? We haven't seen a reverse end around yet from a wild. He'll throw the pluser.
Yeah, I like this. So he did have that second +4, as I thought, after we saw him use a +4 earlier, and the wraparound there by Nam back to blue.
Abyan's gonna have to come. He comes prepared though to the party.
Yeah, I was gonna say I looked back. I didn't see anything that indicated to me that Abyan didn't have blue. It was actually Nam who did the wraparound off of blue into yellow, and Nam's actually iced out now in that color along with Abyan. So I'm not exactly sure what it was that Nam saw that he was doggedly trying to get it back to blue there. I didn't see any indicator that Abyan was going to be out of it.
I think it's why I said earlier in Game 1, Seth, flush it. You know what? Throw a wild out there and flush it. You got nothing to lose. Because if you think about it, if you don't throw that wild, maybe all of a sudden Abyan's got he just weeds off a couple numbers and boom, that +4 becomes a connector. It's 1-1 going the other way. I think this is a stall. I'll ask him. I think it's a stall tactic, and he says, you know what? Let's go fair now. As that's a there it is. We're waiting. That's the one move we hadn't seen yet. That end around Shane. And that's now going to have to rethink if you're not, because the +2s are juiced in the red here set. That's going to be a hard ask if you're not to get out of this one.
It definitely is. And I love what you said there, because if I was able to read that more than likely there was another +4 on the other side that Abyan had, Nam certainly had to be aware of that. So I think you were absolutely correct that he tried getting it back there to blue to try and get the flush, get that +4 out of the conversation here, and then see if you can maybe establish some kind of possession. He's going back to the blue. So the question here is now, is this a flush or is this an ISO?
Classic.
Obviously it's an ISO. Yeah.
KT Classic on the KT Blue Wild with the gun pointed at you. That's becoming a lethal move here, especially in Apocalyptic August, because you can just see it, man. Nam is not a guy to finish games. If he doesn't have the finish right away, or it's going longer than 5 minutes, I'm going to drag you back. You coming with me. That's kind of how it works with his mentality. Abyan, I like the aggression. Do the end arounds. Get him off his gate, because now we're just flushing ammo. And you can see Nam is one of those players. We talked about it. He wants that shuffle. If we can get a reshuffle, that's going to favor Nam. Abyan's got to finish this game before those 35 cards run out, because the more he gets ammo and attrition, the more he'll start to cook. And you can see it. It's going way back there.
One of the most important facets in an Uno player's repertoire is if you don't have the cards, if you're looking at your hand and you're thinking, man, there is absolutely no way I am going to win this thing. If you've got that heat check in your hip pocket with a wild and you know you can play it in the color that none of you have, that in a sense kind of levels the playing field back up. Yes, in this case, Nam is down in terms of card possession, in terms of the number of card in his hand, but
Yeah, he's good for that.
you do have a chance to be able to maybe get that ammunition that you need. We ended up seeing Nam was able to draw back and get ammunition in that first game.
Yeah, you can go one more time. And we don't have much blue weaned off, so... Yeah, 20, yeah. We don't have much blue weaned off, so we will have to think about. But Nam can draw back one more time. 20 is the rule. It's fine. Really, I allow 22, but whatever. It doesn't matter. Just draw back one if you don't have it. You're good. But let's go back to the game here, because this is interesting. Because if we're gonna keep weaning off ammo, we'll see what Nam will play. I wonder if he saved a number. Yeah, that's what I thought. Save the number, play it clean. Don't go crazy, and see what Abyan will throw. All right, and it goes. Yeah, you gotta think here, Seth. He wouldn't be going this far back without saving some numbers and whatnot. That's classic Nam, and Abyan is juiced.
Interesting point of note as well. Would Nam have felt comfortable in doing this lengthy drawback that he did had he come into the second game down 0-1? Does he have the luxury, the freedom of being able to be aggressive in this drawback here, knowing he's got that first game already won?
I think now he did a great job of saving all the blues and hoarding them away, because now Abyan sure will probably get out of here at some point, maybe on this 9. But he's doing a great job of just saying, you know what? I'm going to hoard all these blues, let him make the switch first, and put Abyan in a compromised position. Abyan's getting outclassed right here, Seth, because this is a classic move of what you see in 2023. Hoard all one color and wait for them to make the move. There's the switch, and now Nam can just be effective on the switching, because guess what? He's got possession and a couple in his pocket.
Yep. Kind of looking at it here, we don't talk a whole lot about avoiding certain numbers, but Abyan there, nice little double play. That might help to even the score a little bit here. But, I'm kind of looking, that Nam's going to try maybe to wrap around back to blue. You're probably looking to avoid 5, 6, 7, or 8 right now. If you are Abyan, because you know that more than likely you're going to see that color swap back to the blue if he's got the chance, talking about Nam.
Yeah, Nam is definitely becoming a drawn-out type player when it doesn't go his way within the first 5 minutes. Why? Because this game is over 12 minutes now. We're starting to creep up. Here we go. Double ditto to red. Next game will begin in 20 minutes. DJ Caesar coming up here at 10:30. As we go to Brian, a lot of playoff implications today, said. And they're definitely playing like this is a Super League-style game. There's no doubt both guys are not going to go home without a fight. That's what you love about this second round, because the first round, we had some good games. We had some upsets. But this round, hearts will get broken. And the beautiful thing is neither one is going to go home with an empty heart. They're going to leave it all on the field. As we go into the Steven 6, there's that yellow back. Interested to see how Abyan can react because he threw that +2 earlier.
You know, we're in T5. I'll be honest with you. I think that most everybody went into, you know, whether they had a very high percentage or a low percentage, I think everybody came into this, even the round of 64, with Super League style play mindset because, you know, you never know. If you end up winning the game, you advance on, your percentage continues to increase, you want to be geared up and prepared. You don't want to be lackadaisical in your mentality going into a Super League game. So I think everybody came into this final T5 already with Super League mentality, no matter what the percentage chance was of them being able to make it.
Super League, we talk about it, it's just such a different ball game. As here comes Abyan, going to go for a heat check right here, Seth. He's going for something big. I think he's got something lined up down the back end. Sure, there's not much ammo left, but he's going to go aggressive. He's still wary about Nam's 5-6 presence. I got a feeling.
Yeah, in terms of that ammo, I mean, I think, you know, +2s are really off the table. There's only a blue +2 out there. There are a couple wild +4s, but I honestly think that if we're going to end up seeing a finish, it's going to be on the reverse skip meta. There's quite a number of skips still out there. We've only used one reverse. I think those are being hoarded right now to try and, maybe on both sides, try and find some type of a massive run to the end.
There's not much, I'll tell you right now, there's not much left. And when there's not much left, you really got to start playing the numbers and percentages. Let's see what Abyan's going to do. That's that reverse skip meta. There it is. Humongous. That's it.
This is it. This has to be it. There's 7 cards remaining. This has to be a 7-bagger to close out. No power play needed either.
I saw when he was typing that red zero, I had a feeling something was cooking, and there's that reverse skip meta.
Wow.
I'm shocked about that one, Seth. Now Nam can just go back to any color if he feels confident. That's a shocker, not going to lie.
Oh, wow.
That is a shocker and a half. Here comes Nam. What's he got? +4. That's it. We're juiced.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one, Seth. I thought for sure usually you see a massive chain run, you go for the. You gotta ask him on that one.
I would have to assume maybe 3 red numbers there at the end, so he didn't have any type of a connector. But if anything, I hold on to that +4 and I try and find some. Let's see. So what did we end in? We ended in the red.
It's working with the switches, but I don't know.
Okay, so he has. Yeah, it's hard to know now what he had there at the end based off what he got on the +4. Oh, could this be the finish from Nam?
This would be from way downtown. It is from downtown.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, how you one up yourself? That's an 8-bagger, and once again, I don't You got to ask him. Let's go to Abyan because I'm not sure about that play, man. I thought for sure it's a game.
Yeah, we were shocked, Abyan, to see that cap off there with the red 3. What was it? Did you have, at that point, 2 more numbers in red? Because just kind of looking here, if that indeed was the case, maybe a little too early, especially to use the +4, give that ammunition to the other side?
Look, I'm just afraid that Nam did all these, 8 cards in a row, which he definitely did right now. I'm just afraid that he done it if I'm not +4 it. So just trying to put a block because I think he's type of person is just gonna do some wild run at the end. So I'm just feel afraid if I'm not doing that. If I'm not doing the +4, I'm just really afraid if if I'm not using that +4 opportunity as soon as possible. But looks like. I mean, I don't know, Nam. Did you just got all those cards from my +4s? Because, oh my God.
Ask him for sure.
That's super horrible. God damn it.
Go ahead and ask him another question said about that early wild flush. I'll talk about that.
Yeah, obviously, we ended up seeing the continuing, trying to get it back to blue there from Nam. Obviously able to flush out a couple of your +4s there. Was there any consideration? I think you had the possession at that time by quite a few cards. Was there any consideration of maybe drawing back there, preserving the +4s at that point in time?
Uh, um, I I uh I think only like leading by one, so it's not really that safe of an option. It gave him connector. Okay.
It probably reverses. Has to be. Well, I mean, there's nothing else
I
you
mean, I
can really
mean, I
say
mean,
for sure. It skips.
I mean, he probably got the numbers, right? I mean, that means he got some of the numbers, and if I'm not doing the +4, I think he's still gonna win. Anyways, I think all those wilds. I think that's just my opinion.
Thank you, Abyan. Seth, that was just a master class in patience. I really was. I think Nam, he's got a psychological. Abyan's wary of that +4, okay, or the +4 chain or whatever chain Nam could throw, and you see that it's the old adage of recency bias. You see it the first game, it's now in your head. How do you try to get it out of your head? You start to compensate for the +4s, and the problem is, I think right there, honest to God, I would have took maybe 2 more turns. Just take 2 more turns. It's crazy to say because you had the 2 possession lead. Get this to where it's 4-6, then try to make that move. Maybe you get it to Uno and see if it can crack, where it could be a possible misplay on the switch, right? I think if he had waited to maybe get that down at 2 or 1, that chain would have been more comfortable. But to leave it at 3, that's too much time. Nam is too good of a player to give any sort of itch or any sort of sniff. He's going to sniff it out, and I think that's unfortunately maybe that's not a rookie mistake because I don't believe that's a rookie. That's a veteran mistake in a good way to say, hey, these people are so damn good, right? Where's the micro margin? I think I'm going to try to jump the cushion, like we talk about dirt racing. He jumped the cushion, and all of a sudden, boom! Now I've found a way to just get it back and stay on the line. It's the fine margins. To most people, that's not a mistake, but to us, when we've been seeing the meta of this bot, it punishes you if you don't finish those runs sometimes on a player that loves finishing runs, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about in the pregame here, we've talked about the ability for Nam to be able to put those chain runs together. We've seen case in point exhibits A and B here at the close of these first 2 games. Obviously, Abyan is very aware of that. However, you don't want to put yourself in a situation, even though you know that capability is on the other side of the table, you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you use up the ammunition and then find yourself boxed in at the end. I myself personally can attest to being in that situation. Yes, you want to be the one that has that preemptive strike. You want to be the first one to have that chain put together. You don't want to be kind of just sitting there watching as the runs put together on the other side and there's nothing you're able to do about it. But you cannot get into your mental status of being worried about the other side putting that run together so much that it takes you away from your game plan. And I think right now, in terms of the mental game, Nam has the advantage here. I think if you're Abyan, you got to kind of take a breath, step back, observe what your plan is, and at this point in time, I think you have to put out of your mind the potential runs there from Nam, because if you think too much about that, you're taking away from your own game plan, and you're going to find yourself locked into the same situations that we've seen him here at the close of both of these games. We're getting into must-win territory here in this series now. And Nam's going to have the call here in the next 2 games. He's up 2-0. Abyan needs to at least draw one of these games back to have a fighting chance.
This is risky because I really do think Nam, all it's going to take here is that 9-card. If he gets the win on his favorite 9-card, either this game or the next game, or one time, that's going to give him ridiculous confidence. And you can see the confidence is oozing. I'll give it to Luke here. He's going to ask Nam for the call since he's not in VC. But if he is watching, no 15-14 Nam. As we can wait for the call here, Seth, I know the comeback's still on, but you got to get back into the mindset of, you know what? The chains, that's just an illusion. That's an illusion. At the end of the day, it happened once, but at the same time, you can't make it happen 3 or 4 times. Because we see with this bot, you start thinking about one little thing and not the game, it's going to punish you with another meta you don't have it often. We haven't seen the poker meta yet. God forbid that comes out. Because if that comes out, I think that's going to favor Nam, who likes to hoard the cards for sure, Seth. 100%.
Yeah, and consider this as well. We're going into a third game here, and both players still have their power play. This could be an opportunity. We talk about the ability to chain together runs at the end. Now for Nam, if he's lacking just that one card, he's got the power play to be that link in the broken chain.
This is going to be a big game here. So I think it's must win for Abyan because I think Nam is saving that 9-card special to the end. Here we go. Abyan is already I don't know what's going on. Here we go. Big point in this series. Can Abyan... He's got to get... It's must win. You can't go 3-0 behind this guy. No way. He's too good of a player, and with that 9-card lethal coming, we'll see how it goes. Now Nam will have to figure it out because he'll be at home. The only thing left to adjust to is being the initiator, but he's a guy to go quick, and if he can get something quick going, you're going to be in a world of hurt. Here comes Abyan. As we go into his own card from Nam, let's see if he switches aggressively here. I think the switching's fine. It's just get the chains out of your head. Those are just illusions at the end of the day.
And the question as well, our first 2 games, we started with 15, we started with 14, we're here at 13. Is there anything different that either one can show the other here now? Have we gone to school? Have we done our homework? And now it's an open book test here of knowing just exactly what to expect from each one of the opponents.
Already said, you can see Nam's loading up. He's definitely starting to feel confident. You cannot give this kid confidence with anything, whether it be a switch, whether it be a triple play. The more confidence he gets, the more rhythm and flow we'll get into. Abyan's got to figure out a way to almost go back to that Caesar style. We talked about that one. I like the +2 and then into a card. That's the 1-2. Those are great.
Oh, yeah.
Those are what you need to do to combat the runs. Not throwing 6-7 haymakers and leaving him a sniff to get back at you. You need to do those haymakers on a small 1-2 chain like Caesar does. That's the strategy to attack Nam for sure. And Abyan right now, I don't think he can do much because we're just waiting on the switch of an effective reverse skip meta as we continue to go number efficiency back to the red. Here you go.
And Nam with the bailout there into red. So we're seeing, as you said, a lot of aggressive light switching going on here. So Pandora's box would end up being green, which we are going to wrap around here with the double reverse.
That's a good call because now you got Nam in a sense of, okay, let him use that green. You be the initiator. Don't give him cards, right? See how it goes. That's a good play. The question becomes is, that's the fear I had. Did he just burn everything? And that's not what you need. You got to hope this is Draw City if you're Abyan Seth because this could get out of hand. He will get lucky.
He does. He does indeed get lucky there. Yeah, you got to wonder, the wraparound there must have been relying on number efficiency. I would have to assume maybe would have had a 3 in another color and was looking for a light switch off of green. Maybe that was his last green. He was just trying to deplete that color, try and get himself down to maybe a 2-color hand. Oh.
This has got to be to flush the +4s out. This is a good move. He's trying to flush ammo out. It's a good move. I like it. But, yep, good call. So you flush it out.
That little one, too. Yep.
I don't mind that from either player, right? Because if you're Abyan, okay, sure, maybe it doesn't work out. But think about it. You just flushed out of his ammo. If you keep flushing that out, that's going to lead to success. The question is, that's a risky play on the 1. He gets lucky because I thought Nam could have had a 1 saved. But he gets lucky there.
You flush out the ammo, you take away those chain possibilities, to your point. That's a great job of being able to start depleting ammunition on the other side, and now has Nam iced out in yellow. Now, Abyan made the initial change over to yellow. Let's see how much longer he runs here. There's a 1-2 play there. A lot of times the indicator with a skip or a reverse to cap off means that you're going to be out of said color here. We're going to have to see if Nam still has to draw back. Does Abyan still have yellow in reserve, or does he maybe use that 6 to get over to another color with a light switch?
Don't mind the switch. Because think about it. You're not giving the opponent cards, right? And if he's got the run, you're just depleting. This is well played from Abyan, right? He's definitely learned. He's learned his lessons from the first 2 games. He had a shot to finish it on a +4 double play right here if he saved it well. Here we go.
We have that kill shot. Is the question? There it is.
That's probably what he should have been doing game 1 and 2. That's
exactly what he needed to blueprint right there.
Seth, go ahead because I think that was the masterclass game. He got back on track. That's the blueprint for sure.
Yeah, Abyan, we obviously saw you didn't let that run at the end there get into your head anymore from the first 2 games. We saw you establish the number efficiency there once you found the yellow color that Nam was iced out in. This definitely looked like this is something that can help get your confidence back here. Talk to me about that. Did you just kind of like clear out your mind of those first two games and say, all right, let me just play to my strengths and then establish what I'm able to control what I'm able to control, basically what we always talk about?
Yeah, finally I'll first win this match. It's once now. I just decided to play it. I think normally not really much under a lot of pressure. Like just lift the pressure off. Just praying for the best and don't be afraid a lot about that. 5, 6, 7, 8 card winning run, which happened before. Just hoping that hey, you know what? I don't think that's gonna happen. Like for the rest of the series, I just don't think it's gonna be like really really insane if he's able to pull it. But for now, just gonna keep the optimism high, and I think this is how I'm gonna play.
Yeah, just a question here as well. We talk about the mentality, how much it can be taxing on the brain, on the emotions. These type of games, these high pressure situations. You're down 0-2. You're going into this third game, another high card start. You talked about the fact that you were able to then stay laser focused here with this. How does one do that? Because I'm sure that there's a lot of novices and there's rookies that have advanced up here into D2. Granted, they've got a lot of experience, but they may not have these high pressure situations just yet. For somebody that's gonna maybe eventually find themselves in the situation, how do you in a sense kind of give them advice in how to clear your mind, have that laser focus here, especially when you're heading into a game currently at a deficit?
I think you just gotta put the mindset of nothing's over until it's over. When the series not concluded, it's not finished, you're still able to come back. I've been participate in lots of comebacks, either me in the comeback side or it's just the opponent on the comeback side. Which I think one of them happened like in two tournaments ago when I go from 4-0 to 4-6. So I saw lots of comebacks, and I'm just saying that it's not over until it's over. Basically, as long as you have that thought in your mind, I think you're able to overcome these difficulties.
Well, Nam basically said it there, Seth. Nothing really going, but he learned something from the low ammo. And we talked about the first two explosions, right? High ammo, get to that reshuffle point. This time, low ammo, not a lot to work with. That's the spot, man. You're not going to get the same three. You're not going to get 3 games in a row where it's going to be high ammo explosion, a nuclear war. This was more of a tame beast right here. Just a low ammo game. You got to figure out number efficiency, and ultimately, I think Abyan just flushing out some things, flushing out that +2, flushing out the 1-2 jabs is what he had to do from the first 2 games. For Nam, you almost think about that he stole one. He should have probably lost that second game. If you think about it, and now he stole one. The confidence is still there, but now he's got to figure, okay, do I want to continue with this high-tier train? Do I go lower? Do you save the 9? He's going to have to think about this one because there's still arsenal in his back pocket as he's always looking for ceiling. But so far, 3 different metas used. We're going to not know until we get something lower because this upper-tier package is great, but if it continues to yield the same results of who's going to stop who, we're waiting for a crescendo point. So that's my thoughts on these opening 3 stanzas here. Good for both parties, but how will Abyan look to tie it up as we continue to go 3-0 on the road? No one's won at home yet. That's another thing, too.
Yeah, and I think we're definitely earning our money as commentators. What we talked about in the pregame, we talked about 2 words that have absolutely nothing to do with each other, but chaos and control. We have seen both of those exemplified here. Maybe not as much chaos in Game 3, but in these 3 games, we have seen a little bit of both. Control more so in Game 3, the chaos more in Games 1 and 2. And it's something that, are polar opposites from each other, but you have to be able to be ready for on any occasion in any game. So both of them right now, I'll tell you what, that this is looking like, it was looking like maybe it could be a runaway. Abyan looked a lot more composed there in game 3. I would keep an eye on him now that he's been able to establish a bit of a foothold here. This is starting to, I don't know, this is starting to get a sense to me of maybe going all the way to that game 7.
Oh, man, that'd be something. Playoffs off the line, game 7. Let's see what would happen if we get there. But it's game 4 now. For that, we'll go to Luke with the call on Nam. Same deal, though. No 14-15. That's the thing, Seth, with this card start. We all know Nam has a 9-card special locked and keyed away. He's probably saving that towards the end. The question's going to be, where does he go here? Does he try something lower, even that? Does he think about just sticking one down to a 12? Does he think about, I don't think he'll run it back to a 10? I'm not sure. That's going to be the other aspect. There it is, 10.
Okay, so it is the 10. Yep.
So he's going to go lower, and now we're going to start to get into that mid-tier. Let's see what happens. Upper mid-tier, now I'm going for a gamble, looking to go up 3-1. Abyan looking to get 4-0 for the road team and really make this interesting and do a best of 3. Starting it off with Nam's card, too. There we go.
So that answers your question, holding on to that 9-card start for his final homestand here.
Already flying off the shelves here, Seth. The pace is rapid. You can see it. They're not slowing down.
Yeah, so this can be one of two indicators. Either there is some pretty good ammunition, so you already have a plan of trying to deplete the numbers, or you got a lot of numbers and you're just trying to rapid fire get rid of them here. I'm not sure exactly which side we're on, but we're seeing some pretty aggressive light switching here as well. Didn't stay very long in red, immediately over to the green, and wait, hold on. We ended it on a reverse. Wow.
Yeah, that could be lack of ammo.
This early on. Okay.
Yeah, that's lack of ammo. Either lack of ammo or he's fishing for a topper. Let's see. Abyan hasn't been put in this position.
Or does he just cap it off?
Yeah, he hasn't been put in this position either. Sorry about that, Seth. So I'm interested. Go ahead. Yep, he's going to go for it, though. Okay.
Okay. Little double play there. So that bails out Nam at least, as it moves it over to a color that I would assume he's able to play in with red.
No. Fade it. Wow, goes into Andy. So this is really tricky. He must have not much. He threw something, hope for the switch, but now he might be 2-color deficit. That's big for Abyan if he can score those 2-color deficits. Let's see what he can do here. I think he's in a good spot right. Here we go with the +4 though, Seth. This is, I don't know about that now, because you think that's good, but you had that's what I was saying. You're vulnerable for that. The crossover.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is Abyan maybe has another +4. He's trying to establish color here. Oh, well,
no.
That light switch hurt him there, so maybe he does have a +4. Either that or he's holding on to it and he's willing to draw back, but
he's got to get out of this. He needs to be aggressive here on the numbers. I think that's what made him so good that last game was aggressive on the numbers and 1-2s with the wilds and +2s flushes. Throwing a +4 like that, that's going to give Nam confidence to go back to the game 1 notebook and say, well, I'll just hoard a color. That is, risky, man. Risky. Dangerously living right here. So that's the best way I can put it for Rob. He's on a fine. I don't think Nam's got much. I really think he had nothing. And the fact that he got put into this spot with his draw city is giving him confidence now to start building. That's a massive win if that's the case.
Yeah, I'm honestly not sure I would have played that reverse there. Now he finds a connector there to bring it over.
This is game 1.
Oh, wow.
This is game 1.
Yeah, I honestly would have probably kept that reverse. You'll probably remember back on Monday, I mentioned that there was a play that I did. I had like a chain of 4, and I said in hindsight, I had a reverse. I wish I had held on to it, and if I had, it might have been different in the outcome of that game. I think that leaving it open on that reverse there with blue, that you would have maybe been better off in just holding on to that reverse, use it for a connector over to another color later on. Keep that ammunition, because we know that Nam is more than likely storing away any ammunition that he's getting.
He's hoarding the blues. This is game 1 playbook. We see this a lot with Stingray. Stingray does this a lot. Drip. Sometimes I'll do it. This is the notebook. He's played so many guys that know how to play this throwback style. Right, it makes the game even more trickier to read. once again, he's getting now I'm just going back to that game one playbook. You can see it point blank. Abyan, on the other hand, he's got to try to get out of this, man. He's got to try to get out of this funk because that +4, that flush, game changer. It's changed the whole game of complexion.
It has. Yeah, for sure.
Now I've still got 2 more cards to draw back on. He still can play with it. And, well, now I don't think he'll draw back here. No way. There's the yellow. Yep.
Light switching it there.
Game 2 comeback, Luke, when you put on the log, don't forget, Game 2 comeback will be for Nam, 20 cards. Got to put that one down. But we go to Nam's blue 1. There it is against that.
Right back to blue.
He's hoarding them, and now he can draw back. Yep, if he wants. There it is.
Yep, so I guarantee you on a lot of these drawbacks, he's been getting blue, but he's not been willing to play them, to your point. Getting ready to wrap it back around to blue to ice out Abyan. And, while, you look at the table right now, and Nam's got 19 cards, Abyan only with 11, Nam is in control right now with the fact that he's being able to establish continually bringing it back to the blue here. Let's see maybe if Abyan can find a number efficiency here. Trying to look and see, only 1 blue 4 has been played.
Don't worry.
Still iced out.
Yep. Believe me, buddy. See, Abyan's got to understand, just because now I'm going back to 20, he's going to do the same playbook in Game 1 to start running these colors. He's doing the same exact... This is just textbook what he did. If you're Abyan, you're going to question yourself, why throw the +4 there? I don't understand. You just had a perfect game, Seth, where it was perfect. Inch perfect. Now you're throwing haymakers, and he's basically playing the psychological. I'm going to throw, you know what? I'm going to throw that reverse skip meta, leave it open, see what he does. Abyan ran through it, the +4 there. Nam's in control. You're spot on. Abyan's got to figure out how to get back to control because Nam has reestablished it. That's a good way to get back in there. I like that play. That's good. Yeah. No cards going the other way. Quad play. Go ahead.
And you cannot be afraid to draw back in these games. A lot of people, they see that as a sign of surrender. Oh no, I'm giving up this game if I'm drawing back. But like we've said, you cannot afford in the early game to give ammo to the other side, whether it's the +4, whether it's the stacked +2s. If it's a heat check with just a 1+2 and a double play, that's one thing. That's okay, like we just saw right there. That's an okay offensive move there, because yes, you're giving some cards to the other side, but it's very, very unlikely that you're going to be giving them 2 ammunition cards. You're more than likely giving them 2 cards of different colors. There's not going to be a connector to be able to put those 2 cards together. But you end up giving them a chunk offensive play. That's when you end up then finding yourself in the situation that Abyan's in right here. Again, playing the +4 over there into the green. Again, if he's got a path, that's one thing, but this just seems early. I feel like in these kind of situations, especially when you've got double digits on the other side for cards,
take your time, draw.
That wild +4 has to be in the finish. It can't be the setup.
He's going to get lucky in the sense that he did land on a 0 sugar. That's going to make Nam think a little bit. 0 is hard to switch off of, great, but why give him the sniff? This is a guy that you give any sort of inch, he's going to find a way. And you can tell he's already plotting something massive because there's just not enough +2s that have been used up where he could just throw one and boom, we're talking about a resetter. So we're going to have to get the mindset of Abyan. This is now 3 times. Absolutely. You gave him a lot of absolute ammo, and he's going to go for the yellow wild. All right. Let's see.
Let's see here. Does that play into any of those 3 cards that Abyan has? Does he have some kind of a wrap around here to close it out?
He's got to hope for something, man. Even if it's just one number. Just burn something.
Does he have another +4, maybe?
That would be insane. If he has another +4, then I don't mind the other +4, but...
That's the thing, right?
Don't tell me you have another +4 to check.
Or is he going for a power play here?
Okay. Well, he's going to get the win, but, man... You almost think here, Seth, this is a 9-minute game, right? And he's got another +4. Okay.
Yep.
So Nam was cooked. He was cooked. Okay.
I don't think this is a waste. I'll be honest with you.
No,
I
it
don't
ain't a
think this is a waste.
No, you did the same thing in game 1. There's no doubt.
You've got the connector to be able to close it out in green. You don't know what Nam could have on the other side if you leave it open there at check. I like the power play there to drop back even 2-2.
Go ahead and ask him some questions, though. We still got some questions. There's no doubt on that one.
Yeah, I mean, Abyan, you're able to use the power play, you're able to close it out, not this series up. I want to go back there, though, to when you were at 3 cards, you went with the +4 at that point in time. Did you have a finish at that point? Would you have had to rely on number efficiency? Because it just kind of seemed from our point of view like maybe that was a little too early to play that +4, but did you have, if there wasn't anything on the return, did you have the cards necessary to be able to close that game out?
Well, I don't really want to explain a lot of my strategy to Nam, so I'm just gonna say this. Yes, I have some closer, but I just unfortunately cannot execute it. I think that's the way I'm gonna say it.
Okay, obviously, yeah, we don't want you to give away all of your strategy here verbally. We saw you guys go into that draw city there when you guys were in blue. The couple of +4s we saw there at the end, were those in the drawback, or were those anything that you had on the initial start?
Can you repeat the question?
When we saw you in that draw city, when you guys were both, it appeared, iced out in blue, we ended up seeing you at the end here have the double +4 to be able to close out this game. Were those +4s on that drawback, or were they any +4s that you had at the initial start of the game?
I had one at the start of the game.
Okay. So I think it'd be safe to assume, KT, that what we kind of saw here at the end of the game there with the double +4 to establish in green might have already been the original plan there for Abyan, trying to close out the game when we saw that +4 that we thought was a little too early.
Yeah, I just stopped the clock there and saw Lamas get him going. Thank you, everybody, still doing the scoreboard. Saw was running. I think we got to really get Nam's side of the story. There's always two sides of the story, right? And I have a feeling he had nothing. Throw the reverse heat check, right? Hope for some ammo on the. He got lucky. That should have been a 2-minute game set between you and me. That should have been game over within 2 minutes. If you have all that, why even waste it? That's my question. I'm glad he got the win for sure, because he definitely had the ammo stat. But I think that's a lesson for Abyan. Use the draw, man. The draw button is free.
I agree.
It's free. You don't have to throw a +4 at 15 cards up. You know what I'm saying? I think it's good that it worked out. Don't get me wrong. Power play was needed, absolutely. But you can see it right there. He's getting in the head. I want to draw cities. On that last play, I could have figured the only way he wins is if he had another point, which he did. And it felt like my best chance of winning instead of burning the +4. We'll take the PP advantage. We'll be content with the loss. As well as, and we come with the loss. Maybe otherwise he doesn't need power play. I mean, to me, that's a subtle win right there. Sure, he lost the game, but if he's got nothing, right, and he was still able to force these DCs, it's still that mental game. Right now, Abyan's probably winning the game on ammo, for sure, but Nam's winning the game off the table on the psychological advantage, and what's going to work in these last 3 games, I don't know. When we start to amp up the pressure, usually the player that can run the journey better will win the game, and I think Nam's run the journey better on psychological warfare. Abyan needs to continue to go back to what he did game 3. I think that was his playbook. If he continues to go game 3, he's got it in the bag. You think, all right, we'll run those game 3s, I'll be clean. But if he starts to go off track like game 1, 2, and here, all it's going to take is a little misstep, and Nam's going to get that advantage. This is the most important game of the season, this game 5. You're up 3-2, especially if it's Nam, because if he can get to 3-2 without the power play, that's going to be a hard task for Abyan. This is crucial. Your thoughts, Seth, before we go into this game 5, because it's a fascinating tale of psychological warfare versus what you've been trying to do the last 10 times and just getting away with murder. Thank you for the update.
Yeah,
101.
definitely. Like you go back there to that +4 that we were talking about that we thought was a little too early. He had 2 +4s at that point in time. That is a monster hand. And the last thing you want to do is shift the momentum over to the other side. As you said, I'm a big fan of that situation, doing the drawback. The only scenario I could have seen, you talked about this game getting closed out in 2 minutes. The only scenario I could have seen is if indeed, and obviously he didn't want to give away any of his strategy there, is could we have maybe seen the power play back at that point? Was there a connecting card in green for him to be able to use the power play right then, force Nam to have to draw a card after he played the +4 into green, and then use the other +4 to be able to close out the game? That might have potentially been a possibility, but if you don't have that connector with a power play, if you don't have that connecting card, you've got 2 +4s. If you've got Nam getting down there towards the end, you can use one of those +4s defensively if you have to, but if you can hold on to those 2 and use them offensively for a finish, man, that is so much power that you're wielding. We eventually got there with him being able to use 2 +4s here at the close of this 4th game, but we talk about control and we talk about chaos. How about power? When you've got that power in your hand, when you know that you more than likely have the control of whatever you want to do on your side of the table, that is huge. Don't give that power away.
Well, you gave me a change up for a home run, Seth. With great power comes great responsibility, and now it's the responsibility of Abyan to give us a card start. Abyan, power's in your hands, buddy. No 10-13, free board. Other than that, what do you got?
Well, I got a victory at 13. I got victory at 10, so let's take a little bit of a middleman there. I'm just going to go with 12.
That's going back up. So that's what we've seen. Seth, just this upper tier mentality. We'll see how it goes. Luke puts it in. What will the starter be? And it's going to be that's a great starter, Seth. Skip, you can do a lot with that.
Yep. Something that I was kind of wondering about here, and obviously we're starting at 12, but I was kind of wondering if Abyan was going to consider 9, because think about it, if you end up having Nam win this game, he doesn't have 9 to then call on his final homestand. So that would have been some mental games that Abyan could have maybe played there for Nam. I don't know. We ended up seeing in a game I think it was the end of last week, we ended up seeing where somebody was strong. Yeah, they were strong in a number, and the other person's like, you know what? Let's go to that number right out of the gate. Why not?
Well, the early switching is about to get ramped to the T here, because we're going crazy with the triple switch here potentially. As there's a ditto. Don't see many of that. We haven't seen many dittos this season, which is interesting.
That might be our first one, actually.
Uh-oh. That's not, well, you're gonna get lucky, but that's already a win for Nam right there. Seth. No yellow for potentially for Ryan. He hasn't shown us enough looks where he's been able to save, so that's something to keep in mind.
Yep. You gotta wonder, maybe let's consider this though as well. Iced out in yellow, but like we kind of talked about back in the previous game, maybe has ammunition, doesn't want to do it, is willing to do the drawback.
Oh, a KT heat check already? That's early, Seth. That, once again, this could be a case of, is Nam trying to flush out those plussers? How does Abyan react right here? Let's see.
Well, I mean, nothing yet to indicate that Abyan doesn't have blue.
Good play. That's the Caesar 1-2. That's what you gotta do.
Exactly what you gotta do.
Hit him back with that junk and see where we go from there. Great play right there. I like it.
Okay, you want to initiate, use your wild. So in a sense, that +2, while it was flushed out by Nam, that wild, in a sense, was flushed out by Abyan. So, a good exchange there of getting the ammo flushed out on both sides.
Yep, now they're back to a square, and it's Abyan up 2 possessions if he can run off the blue. But the one advantage he does have, I will say, if Abyan's juiced on them yellows, how does Nam attack that towards the end of the game? Because that's where the red zone comes in. Here comes Abyan. Let's see. Plays it cool into retro. Now I'm going to go half off doing his own card. Now the moment starts to crescendo a little harder, Seth, because both guys, I think, have a weakness. I think right now Abyan the yellow and Nam potentially is a small one. He could be fading a green. How does Abyan try to exploit the green early to where Nam will have no green towards the end will be key. Here he comes. Loading up. Big load up. Humongous play. I like it.
And he brings it back to said green. So yeah, that is tremendous.
Textbook right there. Don't give him cards. Go for the 4-bagger and see where it goes from there. Let Nam be the one.
Find your way to that ice color.
Yep. Let Nam be the one to enforce the cards going the other way. Even if you get +2, so be it. You're ahead. Here comes Nam. Let's see what he'll do. See? You just flushed his +2.
There you go.
That's it.
You flushed it. Perfect. That's exactly it. That's exactly what you've got to do. And interesting there that Nam decides to keep it in green.
Psychology, yeah, it's a psychology thing. Where keep it the same color. Maybe there's some +2s that can save. It's the old adage. Let's see.
We had earlier, so Abyan going to be able to run here. We had earlier where there was a quad play, and I think Abyan was then iced out in said color. So I wonder if Nam went back to that playbook to see if indeed there was any more green that Abyan was going to be able to play. Now with that +4, he probably did as well.
Here we go.
Now over into red. Interesting, he's not making any callbacks to yellow. So does this mean that Nam doesn't have any yellows to work with as well?
Could be, or it's once again just trying to get the flush. Let's see how Abyan reacts here. This one, I think it's simple here. I would think the +2's coming. Well, there's the flush.
There's
same
the flush.
That's the same exact carbon copy flush. They both have +4-9. That's crazy.
Abyan gets it back into green, so
I'm okay with it because in that
I am
case,
too.
As long as it was green. If it was another color, you open it up. But with the green,
You're bailing him out.
Yeah,
Yep.
Great call. Play the ISO game and go from there. Now, if you're Nam, content. You love this. This has been your home the entire series of draw city, play it where it lies, and go from there. While we have a little break, which it's not much. The other game is going on. It's still 1-1. Keep that in mind. Caesar DJ, big game going on there, but that's the only interlude we'll go there. There's Abyan with the play right there, Seth. He's going to try to break him out here. Let's see.
I don't know if he's going to try and break him out. He played it in the zero sugar, which is very difficult to light switch off of, so I think that might have been just trying to maybe get that one card extra possession there.
See, I like this from Abyan, though. Keep stealing possessions away.
Use those cards. Absolutely.
Keep getting 8-9 cards. Because if he's got to go back to 12, keep doing that. Because at a certain point, you're tempting Nam to switch. It's tempting, for sure.
Nope, I'm with you. If the top deck gives you a green, unless it's like a reverse or a skip or a +2, absolutely play it.
We're on it. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm watching the table like a hawk. You're good. He got one more draw on him. Yep. Now we'll see where we go. Well, and this is working for Abyan like a master right here. He's getting the top decks. Now he's got to readjust. Nam almost has to become, switch it. You gotta readjust the pendulum, and now it's shifted back into Abyan because he's been playing more concise here, Seth. There's no doubt. Into the Curtis 5. Here comes Nam. +2. There we go.
Okay. So
but you know what?
Little check there.
If you don't have those 4 or 5 greens, it's closer to the scoreboard. The scoreboard still says Abyan's up big. That's huge. Still 10 possessions potentially or more. Yeah,
he's only a flesh wound.
10 possession game here, and if you're Abyan, you have the cards now. The last thing you want to do, throw another ammo card, and all of a sudden the momentum. You got it. You got to stay low. For your Nam, your best bet, number efficiency. That's been the key ever since those game 2s where you stole some. Number efficiency. That's going to be the battle line. Who stays number efficient, and does Abyan rush it? That's going to be the key. As we got
you don't have the power play. You obviously right now, as we said, you've definitely got the possession and everything. If you don't have the finish, if you've got that ammo card, if you don't have the finish here, do not be afraid to draw back. You've got enough wiggle room right now with Nam at 15 to be able to do that.
If you're Nam right here, take a timeout. He's getting close to that red zone. You're down 10 possessions. It's a full send versus no send on the card starts, right? Or on the scoreboard. This is where you take the time. I saw him do it against China. He's taking the time out looking at that card history. This is the time because at a certain point, you need to almost get the reestablishment of psychological warfare. What's the best way to do it? See how I didn't talk right there? It's silence. You wonder what the heck's going on, right? Why did the KT go silent? It's the same thing. Why did I go silent? So, silence is golden right here. I like the play from Nam to just take the time out. And there's the pluser. There we go.
Okay, so, if you're Abyan, you've still got the 4-card possession. You've flushed out a +4 there. That's huge.
It's all about control, man. When you get later in the series, control is becoming the absolute key to winning games. Now we go into a little bit of a blue war. M down to JT. Does Abyan have a switch here? How many more blues does he have, or is he willing to go for the switch?
Also remember this as well. He's just gotten hit with a +4. We were in a bit of a draw city there as well when we were iced out in green. So Nam does not have the read now. Okay, this is what I was going to mention. He now brings it over to yellow. He doesn't have that read to be able to use yellow as an ISO color any longer that he had earlier on in the game. You'd have to assume in the drawbacks in the +4 that Abyan has some yellow to work with. And we've only, up to this point, there's a ditto play. That's only the 5th yellow that's been played so far in this game.
5th yellow played. Nam with plenty of options. He'll run the yellow clean. Yeah, this is there's a ditto again. It's starting to turn into textbook, man. It's starting to turn into textbook Uno right here, Seth. It's okay. There's no yellow foresight. Where do you go for the back end? And right now, they're going to run it clean because of the draw city.
You got to wonder with those ditto plays there too. Was Abyan maybe trying to force Nam into a light switch potentially here?
But buddy, I wouldn't worry about that right now. You're up 5%. You're up 5%. Why worry about that? If I'm a player right there, Seth, that's a comment that you don't gotta make, because you're giving Nam any sort of. Right now, he can tell he's wounded. He's not getting the ammo. He's a little bit flustered. If you're Abyan, you stay to the court. There's no need to throw those comments, because now you're giving him some sort of life. Well, let's see what he's got though. Unless he's just playing with us.
Up to this point, Abyan has looked very much in control here. So, I think you stay with that mentality.
All right, let's see. Let's see. Does Nam have an 8-bagger? But you know what? I don't blame him if he does. At that rate, you maximized the game as best you could. You got this down to 2. Sometimes you just gotta let the results fall the way they are. If he has it, and I don't see one, but you never know. It's Nam, but. You've been playing textbook. The only thing that I would question was that earlier, that break. I mean, the only mistake he may have made was that earlier break on the a +4, the first one. That's the only thing I maybe would have questioned. But everything else was textbook from there on. For sure. I don't think this is a run. This is a timeout. This is Nam once again studying the CH, seeing what's on the screen. Does Abyan have that last +4, and maybe outweighing an option of a power play? If anything, that could be the other thing you could be looking at too. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it right now, and we've only used 2+2s. So, I think as well that maybe Nam could have some +2s there, and he's thinking, is it worth using 1 or 2 of them right now to try and draw Abyan back if I don't have this run to the finish? Is what's the return that he could end up getting on the other side?
Play.
Oh, wow.
This is humongous from Nam. Let's see where it is. This may be an 8-bagger. That's going to be an 8-bagger, Seth. 100% with the power play. Unreal. And once again, you gave him life. You gave him the life, and that's all it's going to take. That should be game. There it is. Yep.
That is.
It's the +4, man. He played perfect other than that 1 +4 he flushed earlier in the game, and you almost wonder, was that the turn point? Seth, to you with the question. That was it, I think.
Yeah, you certainly would have to think so there. I mean, Abyan, it definitely was looking like you had been able to kind of establish control, much like what you had been able to do back there in game number 3. Going back there to that +4. We ended up seeing it ended up, helping you to be able to establish the color that you wanted. But we talk about hindsight being 20/20. When you're in the moment, it seems like the right play. You look at it in retrospect, maybe wasn't the correct play. But if you could kind of go back and do it again, do you still think that was the gut reaction there? That was the right time to be able to do that?
Abyan, Yeah, that's
I'm not sure with. Oh my god. All right. So, dear commentators, please give a rate about my move here. My last 3 cards are yellow egg, which is the one I played,
right.
a yellow +2, and a wild. Please give a commentator out there.
Oh, that's a bad beat then. I mean, the only thing I would have thought of, Seth, right there, honest to God, it's gonna sound crazy, but that's where you probably throw the +2. You're the +2 machine. Throw the +2. He's got 2 extra. There's no power play coming, right? There's no power play. So, wow. But I think, Seth, you wanted to ask about that initial +4 because I think that rushing really, I think I got a feeling was the difference. Go ahead and ask that again. I'm gonna ask Dom this.
Yeah, that like we said, that +4. I mean, I'll be honest. Kind of in looking at it and looking at it from a player's point of view as well. I'm he was able to use it to get it back into green. So I actually was not opposed to that type of a play there. But what was that the plan there, Abyan, with that +4 to just use it as the path to get back to green, which you knew that he was iced out in? Or did you, at that point in time, was that a continuation of a plan to be able to get to the end? Was that in a sense kind of an offensive defensive combination?
I could have forgot about that one, unfortunately. Maybe I can scroll a little bit. Hold on.
Yeah. See if we can get that.
Hang on, I can find the spot for you here. Would have been right there, where you ended up playing the +4 and then you left it on the green 9.
I thought he played another one initially. My fault. I thought he had another one. I thought that one I didn't mind. I thought he had another one. My fault.
Did he? I don't think so. I think that was his first +4 play of the game.
What was it? The second one? I don't remember. There were so many +4s, man.
Yeah. I knew it was more about a defense there. I just got hit by a +4, so I gotta do the +4 to make the game stabilize once again. It's more about that.
Then no, that's just a bad beat. Then I'm sorry, he's right. Then he actually there was it was such a long.
Yeah, the +4 before was Nam.
Right. That's what, because it was the same play. I got a little confused. My fault there. A lot going on, but you almost wonder right there. Say, I think in that situation, you got a +2 and 8. Power plays on. You hit him with the +2. Right, because if you hit him with the +2/8, guess what? 2 things happen. One, you're at Uno. No power plays coming. Right? And the second one, you save that wild.
That's your finisher, maybe. If he doesn't hit you with something offensive on the other side.
All he had was reverse skip meta. Right?
Yeah.
Sure, we'll never know those 2 cards.
I think there's still like 1 +4 remaining. I'm just afraid that he hit me with the +4. That's it, basically. That's my logic behind it.
But even with the +4, as you said, KT, the +2 then breaks up the possibility of using the power play for the connector.
Yeah, I would just throw the +2 there. Throw the +2. Let me get the question. Keep talking. You feel dead air, so let me get this question out.
Yeah, I mean,
I
understand the fear of the +4 on the other side for sure, but at that point in time as well, bear in mind, I think at that point you would have been at you would have been at check, and he would have been still at 8 cards. Oh no, actually, he would have been at 10 cards with the +2. So even if you get the flush out there of the +4, that's no longer in play, and you've still got the possession. You would have been at 5 to 10.
Yeah, I mean, I thought just like, I don't want to get hit by the +4. I already have like 2 cards left, and I don't want to get that +4. So I thought that's like the best move I can think of. Like, I just played the yellow egg and then let him play anything. I can do the wild and then yellow +2, or just yellow +2 and then the wild. I think that's what I was thinking about, but it is what it is.
Well, I mean, we saw you a lot more composed in this game, much like we saw back in Game 3. Now, with the mindset going into an absolute must-win Game 6 here on the road, what does the mentality go to now? Do we kind of go back to that laser focus that we were here in this previous game in game 3, or do we do something a little bit more outside of your comfort zone here? Do we try, because we mentioned about the fact we've not yet had a card start in the single digits. We've been 10 to 15 here in these first 5 games. It's been a lot of opportunity to kind of go to school, see what's on the other side of the table, do some homework, get some reads and everything. Have you got enough now in knowing Nam's style of playing, and do we now see a slightly different play out of Abyan here, so that way Nam isn't exactly sure what to expect based off of what he might have been able to glean on your style of play?
I cannot really talk about that much, but I surely have learned a lot from this series in this first 5 games against Nam, so I just try my best, keep the optimistic up. It's not over until it's over. Just use that mindset, and I think it's still possible.
And Nam said adapting has been my biggest challenge. Initial plan on that role was to play straight and open, but things stopped when he made his 2 mirror. There was a lot of initiative, so I decided to play aggro and get the win off the power play. So that's a good answer right there, Seth. That's a kid, right? This kid's 15, right? He's a youngster. There's no doubt. He's playing with guys twice his age, right? He's been absolutely torched in many times in his career. He's 15, man. He's a young kid, but he's learning this game really, really good, and he's using psychological warfare. You have to think about the players he's played in his career. He's played the likes of JT, a legend. Myself, a legend. He's played guys in Christian Tago. He's played massive names in the past that have just really got him to where he is. We talk about Stingray. He's one of the great at the mind games. He's played Chomik twice. Eli. There's so many names he's played. Abyan's played big names too. Don't get me wrong. But the difference is a lot of the things he's been doing so far, Nam, is psychological, and it's a pressure environment. You only had that in T1 and 5. That's it. You only get 2 chances at this T1, the pressure's on. It's a major. You want to go out there for that first trophy of the year. T5, it's not about the trophy. It's about surviving and advancing the Super League. That's it. You don't care about winning the trophy right now. It's about Super League. And for Abyan, I think if he looks back at this game, win or lose, he's going to learn a lot from those first 2 games. Where if he had just maybe saved 1 or 2, we're talking 3-2 the other way. Right? Or 4-1. It's over. So it's definitely micro margins. It's interesting how Nam's been able to put this into a stranglehold as we continue to run. And Seth, your thoughts on where he goes here? Because I think 9 and the fact that he's been able to just run this psychological gameplay has worked in his favor, where Abyan has been a little bit more hesitant in a lot of his moves so far, despite him having cleaner games in the second half for sure.
Everything is lined up for him to be able to, on this final homestand, to call on that 9 card start. He's up 3-2. The power play is flushed. He had the luxury of being able to utilize that here, knowing he was going to be at home in this upcoming game 6. I think you're exactly right. I think, we've been up in the double digits this entire series. We've yet to dip our toe in single digit. I think that we're going to see him now go into his comfort zone in that 9 card start and see if he can close this thing out.
All right. Here we go. It's going to be Luke going to take care of it. Luke, go ahead and ask the question for Nam. Big game right here, Seth. It's going to be no 12, 14, 15. I don't see how it isn't the 9-card heat, but we'll see. I've seen stranger things in this league, but I think the 9-card heat's coming. Let's see.
Yep. He can't call in the full send because he ended up winning the first game on a 15-card start, so that's off the table. I don't know just how apt he is to go with a full send here. I think you're right. I think we kind of tone it down a little bit. We get it down to the single digits, and I don't know. It still leaves a little bit of opportunity for ammo, but it puts more emphasis on number efficiency as well.
All right, let's see what he'll do. We think we know where he's going with it. Let's see.
I mean, he went to 10.
Yep, there it is.
On one of his homestands. Yep.
This is the 9.
So go that one down.
And this is why Nam likes this, because if he can get the right hand, right number, you almost gotta think this wasn't a luck game. This was a psychological game. Statistically, this is it. This is his magic bullet in the pants. There's no doubt. It's buckle up. This could go quick, Seth. Here we go.
It could. And you talked about it. Abyan says he's going to break that streak. You talked about it, KT. The mentality here of T5. Not thinking ahead towards that trophy. That trophy's at the top of the mountain. You're not going to climb that mountain until you take the first step. Every single one of these games, every single one of these series here in T5 are steps. Each step increases your percentage to get into Super League, but you've got to take that first step in order to be able to begin that journey, and that's what you have to approach each one of, not only just these games, but each one of these series, but each one of these games in said series as well.
Well, it's the ladder, man. It's the steps on the ladder. No power play for both. That's the only thing Abyan's got going for him. So going to the green, aggressive with the switching. Doesn't work yet, but does he have something here?
I like this though, because as we said, they've had 5 games of observation to be able to get some reads.
Ooh.
This aggressive light switching here from Abyan might be a different sign of what Nam's used to, but little Caesar double play there.
Nothing from Abyan. Is this Nam with the closer? No, it's draw.
He iced. I was gonna say. I was wondering if that double play might be him iced in green.
Now, if you're Abyan, you're good. You're content right here. Nam's going to want to get this to draw city. There's no doubt. You got to continue to run these greens. That's the best advice I can give. Let's go to Art real quick. A little interlude. Art, obviously, you could be playing one of these guys. What are you witnessing so far on the table?
Well, here's the thing. Right now, what I'm seeing for both of them, they know what they are doing here, but Nam's been really good on trying to get it right there in the draw city. And that's one of the key factors that Nam always does. If he could trick you in the draw city, Nam is playing the psychic warfare right now. And he is doing it perfectly well every time he plays. It doesn't matter what he's doing. If he gets you in the draw city, he has gotten you in his trap.
So that'd be something. His name is psychic warfare. I haven't heard that one in a long time, but that's what we got right now. Psychic warfare here from Art. He's making the call. Abyan's got to think here. You can see it right there. I liked what he did earlier, Seth. That game 3. Keep getting the top deck. Don't not use him. Use him, because that's what's going to help you break this draw city. That initial wink for sure.
If I'm Abyan right now, I'm liking this. So let's say that Abyan actually does end up drawing some green. This is very similar to what we saw Nam do back in a couple of the previous games, where he was at a deficit in terms of card possession, but he was more than willing to continue to draw back, knowing that Abyan was iced out. I think you flipped the script right here. If you're Abyan, if you've got greens, or if you've got a light switch, don't bail Nam out. Keep him iced out here at this point in time. Have him build up cards. Take away the possibility of him getting to those massive chains we've seen him close out games with. Wait for Nam to make the initial swap over.
No initial swap coming right here. I think both guys are content in the DC. Abyan is loading up something. What does he got right here? I think right here you're content. You really are. You don't have to do anything stupid. You just stay clean, stay executable, and keep it being adaptable to the situation around you. Situational awareness is important.
Right now, you're not at that much of a deficit to Nam. It's only a 3-card difference between the two of them. So yeah, I think that if you're Abyan, especially if you're drawing some good ammo cards, hold on to them. Use them for later on. If you have to use them defensively at some point, do that, but don't use them now. Don't give Nam an out.
Nam is going to just take his time here as well with Abyan. This is big right here, Seth. There's no doubt. This is a massive point in this game where a lot can go lopsided, and I think both guys know it too. There's Abyan now going to have a choice to make as Nam throws the strategy he was doing.
So now here's the question. If you're Abyan, if you were able to hoard some green, now you're looking at the card history. You're looking at what would be the best statistical number for me to play if I've got it here to try and keep Nam iced out in the green. Or force Nam to initiate into a light switch.
Yeah, this is a key moment in this series. I think Abyan's got to think about. I wouldn't mind here actually set a triple play if it's a +2, right? A classic double play, triple. If you just feel a little, that's fine. That I have no problem with. It's just don't throw a 6-bagger and then all of a sudden you're iced out, and then all of a sudden we go back to what we've been seeing lately, where Nam's been playing that psychological.
Just enough to close up the gap.
Yep. Gotta control the pace, man. That's the key on the scoreboard always. Here he comes. Let's see what he's got. That 4 changed the game a little bit, though, because it made it a 5-possession game. That is fine. That's going to do just fine. Perfect. Now you got the lead.
Perfectly fine.
Perfectly fine. Now you got non-backup possession. You're up by a possession right here. That's what you got to do. Don't hit him with a crazy 7-bagger and then give him a chance. Hit him with the 3-4 play and see what happens from there. Now, Nam, he's going to go with the aggressive switch. This might work for Abyan. I think both could have saved the yellow.
What I like as well is we saw the +2 and the skip in green. He, in my opinion, could have some more green numbers to call back on if necessary. Wow, Nam was able to find a chink in the armor. He was able to find a color that Abyan was iced out in at this point.
That's not what you needed. That's not even anyone's fault. That's just insane from Nam. There's nothing you can do about that. The number lined up right. Does Abyan have an answer, though? He's been finding answers all night. That's a great answer. That's a great answer because now you know his desperation. You got to throw something. I don't mind that again, Seth. That's a good answer. I don't mind that.
Yep. I got to wonder, was that +2 off the top deck or was that something he was holding and maybe the red +2 might have been the connector?
Answer from Nam, though, Seth. Unreal.
And this is to try and flush out ammo now.
Either
this
that
will be
or
this.
ISO.
If there's a. Okay, so he does ice him out. I was going to say.
Yep.
Yep.
Oop, clicked on the wrong game. My bad. I'm trying to look at my phone as well. The other game I think is 3-2 DJ right now. That's crazy. That's another playoff game for Caesar, especially.
Yeah,
When you go to
it is 3-2 over there.
Notifications are going wild here. I'm trying to look at the game on my phone, trying to keep the scoreboard abreast, trying to figure out these play styles here, Seth, because now both have top decked something. Abyan makes the break.
Okay, so he finds a path over into the blue, which, if I'm not mistaken, is our Pandora's box color.
That's the well, we knew that was coming, Art. I mean, you gotta think +2 had to be saved somewhere. There we go. What's it going to be now from Abyan? I don't think it's going to be a bad problem to throw this +2. Maybe get 2 freshies. Use the nom card. You still got the possession. Long way to go.
Question here as well is if he's got it, how soon does Abyan try and maybe get back to green?
That'd be the key, right? For Nam, you're trying to play ISO ball. You're trying to get this into Draw City more. I don't know if he's comfortable right here. I think he wants to get this into the DC more. 0 sugar there. That's not too much to flounder. No, I'm going to respond with a double. He's closing the gap, though, Seth.
Closes it up. Yep.
What's it going to be from Abyan right here?
I mean, if anything, if you're Abyan, one thing that you like is seeing that little double play there. You're not getting any cards in return, and you're seeing an ammo card. We've seen the reverse skip meta for Nam to be able to close out a couple of these games with the 8-baggers, the 6 and 8-baggers. So to see some of those going away, there's another one. So there's the reverse gone, there's a skip gone. You know that those are not going to be in Nam's repertoire. The likelihood of a 6, 7, 8-bagger is very slim to none now with these cards being played.
Yeah, it's getting wild on the back end for sure. We'll go into the pod real quick. Winner of this game, as we go into Abyan here with the blue wave from Nam, will get either R or Toasty. That's going to be the key. There's the schedule. DJ and Caesar still playing right now, looking to see how that one will finish up. But yeah, right now, Seth, this is going to be it's going to be nip and tuck, man. Both guys have played absolutely key. A +4 from Abyan. There we go.
Yep, I like this timing. I like the timing of the +4 there.
Great +4 time. Now we're going to find out something on the free end here. But it's back to the blue for Nam. Sorry, I adjusted. That's big. That's number efficiency. That's ISO magic. And now he's going to want to go play the depth. You can't catch a break if you're Abyan, man. Oh, but he gets a break.
Whoa, hello. Now the question is, did Nam draw back any? Oh my gosh.
KT.
That's dirty. That's dirty.
Came prepared.
You can't hate that, man. That's just classic gameplay. That's ridiculous. Game 7 call over Caesar DJ. Yeah. Unreal gameplay.
Game 7 over there.
What can you say? What can you say, Seth? That's just ridiculous from Nam. It's ridiculous.
It's so frustrating if you're Abyan. I've been there. It's so frustrating when you're like, yep, I've got this, and then they've got that wild to be able to just draw it back to the color that you're iced out in. And now going back into this draw city here again. So now we wiped the slate clean. Now we don't have any idea of who's got any type of control in terms of possession and in terms of cards here.
I don't have any answer for this, man. This has just been a absolute barnstormer. Nam with every answer. I don't even mind that +4. I don't mind
I like
it.
the +4.
That's the time to use it. I didn't mind it right there. The problem is he just found a while, and I wonder if it was top deck. This is going to go over an hour, Seth. This has the making over an hour. Let's see if Abyan can get a number right here. He's got to find something. He's got to go back to those top deck draws with the Blues, because if not, the longer this goes, the longer Nam's going to build confidence. There's no doubt. Here he comes. Humongous triple play. That's good.
There you go.
That's good. Now, if you're Nam, Blue 6 it right back. Play the ISO game. That's going to be his key. Find a way to get back to Blue and keep dragging it out. It's drag out versus the draw out. That's it.
That is one of the key factors for Nam, really.
Seth, are you not entertained, man? This has been a fantastic series both ways.
I'm entertained and I'm equally confused because I'm having a very difficult time getting reads on either of them in this game.
Well, Nam's easy. He don't have the card. He's trying to go back to draw drag out style. That's an easy read. Abyan, not a finish, but he gives an opening.
It's another Trips play though. Gets himself down to 2.
+2. That +4. Flushed it. Don't mind it.
Flushed it. Nope. Perfect.
Nam,
You can't. Yeah, he said back in that last game, he said, I was afraid of the +4. When you're down there and when you're down towards the end zone there, but you've got your opponent back almost to double digits, you can't be afraid to flush that +4. You obviously you want to win the game right then and there, but hey, you get that +4 gone, guess what? That's something that they're not able to use for a connector if they start getting down around that red zone.
They're drawing back now. They're drawing back. This is drawing back still. Still drawing back. This is insane. Both guys have taken it to the absolute peak limit, and now I think it comes down to really it comes down to improvisation. It's the last thing we haven't talked about in this series. We go to our top deck for Abyan, which is he needs to go back to that Game 3 playbook. But it comes back to the improvisation of, okay, the deck's running low. The shuffle's running low. How do I find a run when there's only 30 cards left remaining and maybe I don't have anything? Someone's going to have to improvise here and go off script to win this game, because I think both have basically maximized what they want to do. Drag and draw out from Nam and aggression from Abyan, but this time it's good aggression because he's forcing Nam into flushes for sure.
Comes down to a little bit of luck as well, and we've definitely, at least in this game, we've seen it in a couple of the other games too, we've definitely seen Abyan on the top deck draw some luck there in terms of either finding maybe an ammo card for a connector. We end up seeing him end up getting a top deck draw on a +2. I think he got a top deck draw on a reverse to be able to put a triple chain together. So we're seeing that aspect a little bit here too. Another top deck there with a Tapir Force. So we are definitely seeing that the top decking luck is maybe a little bit more balanced towards Abyan, at least here in this game.
Zero sugar from Nam. DJ Curtis versus Caesar, Game 7, got a double split screen. They're in Draw City on yellow early in the game. Here's the 0-5 action from Nam and Abyan. Right now, Seth, my question really becomes as we go to the G6, did Abyan, because he made the break, find something? But now Nam is going to go ISO back. That's massive.
Drew Reds kept him in reserve here to be able to call back on them.
Man, Art, you're getting a school right here, man, because you have to play one of these guys if you can beat Toasty. Good luck trying to figure this one out, especially if it's not, because he is playing Draw City to the key. There's no doubt.
Well, that's one of the best things for Nam, really, is if he can get you into that Draw City, trick you into it. It's a difficult place to be at. Abyan's got to figure out what's a good way to get out of it and try to force Nam back to make sure also he doesn't switch it to keep it going.
The problem is, Seth, on red, there's not much left going. There's not much left going. And, yeah, sure, Nam at 20 cards right now. He'll have to draw. He'll draw here. He's got to play something. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what he's got to do now.
Probably gonna, I don't know, do we see a light switch initiated here to keep some more red in reserve, to call back on it if necessary? We've got one green and both the yellows still out there.
Yeah, I figure he had.
All right, so he'll keep it in the red.
Yeah, I think if we just had the problem is we still had too many numbers left in red. If we would have been just juiced, I would have let it keep going. But
wow, I'm shocked that Abyan's iced out. There were up to that point only 2 8s that were played.
That's why he's got all the reds. This is back to game one again. And now if you're Abyan, you're frustrated because you can't even get off a number efficiency play. Just like that, Seth. Well, there we go. I was going to say,
Okay,
Nam's
there's the breakout finally.
2-possession game. This was a 10-possession game at one point. Nam's looking for 3 games to go for 20 card comeback. We've never seen that. No one's ever done that. We've seen 2, but 3 would be ridiculous. Here comes Abyan.
Right, when you've got ammunition flushed out, you've got the luxury of being able to do something like that.
Caesar DJ still knotted up at 3. There's the yellow 4. What's it going to be from Abyan now? He's going to have to fight fire.
I'm going to tell you now, with that Curtis Caesar game, their game pretty close.
Pretty close? All right. You keep abreast of that. We'll call it this game. Now I got you here. We'll utilize everyone today. We need 5 screens, Seth. We need your dual monitor, man. Too much going on. Holy moly. That's T5, baby. What a day. This is an opening day, too. Here comes the yellow 4 from Abyan into the Rodgers. Now, what will Nam have in a switch? Because yellow definitely is interesting, to say the least. Because a lot of numbers are juiced, but the +2s aren't, and the yellow reverse skip is still open.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at, is like the possibilities there. As you say, we've run nothing on the reverse skip in yellow. We've got 2 wild +4s that are still out there. Now, Nam drawing back here in yellow. Is he entirely iced out of said color? Based off of the card history, it's possible he could still have the reverses and the skips, and he just doesn't want to use them.
In the green, that's huge. What will Abyan have now? I think I like this call from Nam to go to green, go something different, maybe save those reverse skip meta if we go back to yellow. But the question is, who has some of those? Because someone's got to have them, unless they're in the deck still, which would be ridiculous.
There's only a reverse in green right now, as far as if we're talking about like a connector like that. There's still a +2 out there as well, but I'm keeping my eye on the reverse skip meta, trying to see what type of path we could be trying to get to here. Abyan's going to swap off there into the yellow, so that takes at least that option out of the conversation for the green.
I think Nam's hiding those reverse skips in yellow.
I think he is too.
Yeah, Abyan's got to be careful now. Unless he has them, this is tricky. Keep running. You got to get off the yellow. That's the key.
Well, you got to get off the yellow. Well, actually, yeah, running in blue I think is actually a good thing currently for Abyan, because there's only a skip in blue right now.
Oh, Abyan had. There's still the +2s you talked about. There is that one blue +2 lurking. Does he throw it right here?
You got to really weigh the choices of when is going to be too early and when is too late. If you got those +2s.
Now that's a heat check, Seth. That's a big one, because there's still one reverse left in red. There hasn't been much red. Is this a Nam saying, I'm going to flush +4 out, though? Is he trying to flush the plussers? Let's see.
There's no +2s at all in red, so yeah, this would exactly what you're saying. This would be to try and flush one of those remaining 2 +4s.
That's not going to work. Here comes Nam. This could be game from 8 back, buddy. This could be game from 8 back. I'm not shocked.
Can you find the connector with the red reverse?
Called it. That's it.
As soon as the red reverse is played, you know.
That's it. Here comes Nam. 4-bagger for the finish. Double sandwich on the +2, and he's moving on.
8-bagger to close out again.
Unreal. That's a masterclass, man. That's a masterclass in saving, a masterclass in knowing when to push the throttle and lay off the gas. You gotta get you can't do it. You didn't do anything wrong in that game for Abyan. You tried your best, but there's no defense to 7,000 draw cities. The first player in history.
What do you do? You're in a tricolor box right there. You go into red, you go into green, you go into yellow. He's going to find the connector one way or the other there, and he had both the remaining +4s. There's nothing you can do in that situation.
I mean, he says it's the toughest opponent he's ever faced, but I got to ask Abyan. Well, I got to ask Nam. You got to ask God about the mentality, because the first 2 games, they were winnable. In fact, he probably should have won at least one of those. There's no doubt. I think
second game more than likely. Yeah.
The first half of the series was winnable. The second half, especially those last 2, Nam just found a lot more draw cities. But your thoughts on Let's go ahead and ask McCall. I'm going to ask now what he did because that was phenomenal, Uno, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. As we look there at the finish, and we look at the cards that Nam had, there's just nothing you're able to do in that type of a situation. You even see just like the cards that he had. Obviously, they're in his hand; they're not in your hand to be able to use defensively. You talk about this being the toughest opponent that you've ever faced here. You know, kind of going back and looking at a couple of those games, do you think that maybe just kind of let his style of play kind of rattle you a little bit? Would we have had maybe a different situation come in here this late into the series? And also, I talk about as well, you know, while everybody has their own style of play, their own type of strategy, when you go up against somebody, sometimes you're able to walk away with a little bit of I don't know, you kind of see what they're doing and maybe try and adapt a little bit of their style of play into your style of play and everything. With what you were able to observe and what you went through here in facing off against Nam, how do you think this does in terms of making you a more formidable player when we get into 2026?
It's, I mean, I think it's like the most, now it's gonna be like probably the worst opponent if you want to come up with 1v1 because he just have everything under the sleeve, you know. I don't like that, but at the end, you know, I always know that from all the draw, he's gonna do all the 8 cards winning run, 10 cards, billion cards winning run. I don't know how to combat that, you know, because I look back at my deck and I have nothing. I absolutely have nothing. I don't know what to do. I don't have any red, so how can I combat that? I have no idea there. How do I need to beat Nam? Because one of the game where I'm able to beat Nam was with a power play. So it's just really the toughest, really tough opponent. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna change my gameplay, my game style for the next tournament in next year, but I think I'm just having a really slim chance for getting into the what's the name All Star tournament, the
Super
SL.
League.
So the Super League. I think I have a small chance. So I'm just gonna say that yeah, it's been a really interesting 2025 run. A lot of ups and downs during the year, but I think I just gained a lot of experience in playing Uno here, and I just trying get some better run for next year because I think I already proven that in the first year my best run was P6, and now this year I got a podium, so I'm really hopeful for a victory next year. Just hopefully that everything goes well in 2026 and I'm able to make some great run next year. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. And before I get to big win for DJ, you know, I think you could just hear in his voice, man. And the problem, Seth, is for Abyan. I hate to say it. Let's go to Nottingham. We'll see what he says. Actually, you want to read that, Seth? I'm out of air, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, now I'm saying decided to lean on the 9 cards once again. Went with the Draw City Classic. Turning point was when he hit 20 cards. He got a ton of ammo. Knew it was just about using the yellow-green numbers. Once he was done, had the win. And it was one of the best games that he played. Lights out, Draw City. Massive props to Abyan for holding up. Will be exciting to play the next round, whoever it'll be, and try to break the S16 drought, the Sweet 16 drought. It's interesting too here, KT, because this was a slightly different Nam. You know, I got the opportunity to watch him back during the Scorched 64 when he took on Chomik, and the first 3 games that he won of that series, it was almost Plan A Nam. We saw the evolution of the Nam we saw today in his final win, going to that 20-card drawback and working his way forward from there. It looks like he took what he was able to kind of find for a strength of his late in that series in the round of 64 and pretty much apply it the entirety of the series here in this round of 32. It will be very interesting to see. I don't know if it's just based off of circumstance or if he's now find a little niche that he really likes just right out of the gate. It will really be interesting to see, depending on who he plays, what the circumstances are in the round of 16, if he calls back on this, or do we see the Nam that we saw in the early portion of his series back in the round of 64?
Well, and I was going to say, man, and it's unfortunate for Abyan. I hate to harp on this, but I think if he's got to work on the mentality, right? Because not every game, the old bot, every game, you could find a meta and it could work. This spot, there's 7 billion metas, and we talked about it. If he had just played against me back in T3, and even if he would have lost that game, he's probably in right now, right? The DQL is the only thing that kills him. But on the other side for now, let's give him his flowers, man. That's 2 big wins. That's 2 big wins in the sense that he's beating 2 players from across the other side of the world. He's had to get up very early for these games. He's in the Pacific time zone right now. Right? He beat Chomik at 6:30 in the morning or something like that, or 7 in the morning. Now 6:30 in the morning. We started here today, and it's 11:30. We've been out here for a while now. What can you say? He's on a heater. He's got 6 wins on the season. Now, sure, they're only quad 3 wins, but he's hoping now especially if Toasty wins, that's his opportunity to get in. If it's hard, then it's a little different. But there's so much to still play for if you're non for Abyan. Most likely that was it, barring some really catastrophe. There was only a 14% chance. I think he's got to work on the mentality. I think he took good notes. But that first half of the series, and he can admit it too, that was winnable. I think the psychological warfare got to him towards the end, and for Nam, we'll see what he does against Toasty or Ard. Seth, your final thoughts before I start doing the usual wrap-up here. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, and I have kind of like a lead-up into a question here as well, because, looking at Abyan's style of play, looks very similar to mine. A lot of what he did would have been what I would have done in certain situations. I wouldn't have even given a ghost of a thought to the type of strategy that Nam was able to play here with the 20-card drawback. Is there any type of a way, I'll ask you, KT and Sean, if he ends up, taking on Toasty, if he ends up coming out on the winning side of that, eventually going to have to play Nam, is there, with observing what we saw today, is there any type of a strategy that you can think of off the top of your head that is able to combat something like that? Or do you maybe do the same thing? Is that a way to combat it? I mean, I'm looking at this, I'm trying to put together formulate any type of a plan. If Nam goes into this same type of mentality, this same type of gameplay when we get into the round of 16, is there any type of an answer for it?
There is an answer, and the answer is simple. You got to outsmart him psychologically. When I played him back in March, back in that T1 2024 in the Final Four, I outsmarted him psychologically. I got in his head. Remember, he's 15, right? He's still a young puppy. He's still learning. He's a young bull now this year. You still got it. You have to psychologically outsmart him. That's the only way you're going to beat him. Because if you allow him to get going with the runs, you allow him to get going with finding the flow state of this game, impossible to see it on a good day. We saw T4 and T1 last year. But we've seen his losses sometimes this year where he second-guessed himself. Some of them have just been tough with ammo, but at a certain point we knew big names were going to start breaking out. He's like Captain. You can't give Cap a sniff. You can't give... Now, these players are too damn good and are a master and a legend for a reason. That's the strategy. You have to out-psychologically smart, and if you don't, you're not going to win the game. As for Ard, I'll ask him the question. And Ard, what do you got to do if you play him? Go ahead before we sign off.
Really? I think you kind of hit it there right on the noggin there. You gotta think the strategic moves to outplay him. And that's going to be one of those key things. If I do get the chance, it would be interesting, but it could be doable. We'll just have to wait and see what goes on. But I first got to deal with Toasty.
We'll go to the bracket now. It's going to be either Toasty or Ard playing Nam. Nam could get a home game before Ard wins. So it's weird, Seth. Nam's probably rooting for Ard in a sense on the home game, but he wants Toasty for the quad resume. So it's the balancing act. Caesar DJ just happened. Caesar loses in 7. This is a crazy world we're living in, man. He's got quad 1 wins, but now he's got quad 4 losses. This year has been just so insane. We'll see how it goes with Caesar. He'll be more of a scoreboard watcher. Abyan's pretty much cooked. We'll see how it goes on that end. Myth Aria coming up at 2 o'clock today. That's going to be insane. It's basically the same situation here of Mitt's pretty good. He's pretty safe for the most part. Just an insurance win would seal him. Arya needs the win or it's season over. Nick Andy doesn't matter for Nick. It's season on the line for Randy. Caesar's looking for Myth and Nick now. He needs favors to win. If you're not entertaining T5, I don't know what to say, man. That's the beauty of this tournament, Seth. Anything can happen. It's playoff pressure. Thanks for watching. You'll see this too. For Seth, Luke, our ref, Lamas on scoreboard, Yoshi for chiming in. Welcome to T5, where the games do not stop. We continue to rock and roll. Super League is always going to be on the back foot, or on the front foot now, as the back foot's always going to be good gameplay and psychological warfare. We'll see you at 2 o'clock for more fun in what's been a crazy day of MRE Uno already. See you then. This has been a presentation of MRE Uno.